You know I'm right on the Royal Rumble. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese, and for all of you who have been following us for years, it's no surprise that we're going to talk about some wrestling here. This is a exclusive here for you and our YouTube audience, and we know you love this stuff. We've had some great wrestling guests on before with us, so we're going to talk about the big event this Saturday, Royal Rumble. Joe, the last time we did a wrestling show was about your great weekend at SummerSlam, and we were going viral. So lots to discuss, and we brought in one of our colleagues here to talk a little bit with us, Joe. So why don't you give everybody a proper introduction to our guest here today?
Yeah, co-worker of ours for the last couple of months. He is a producer at Better Sports Network. Kind of works on does a couple of shows there. I assist him with social stuff, and he's also got his own podcast, Subway to Shea. So really great opportunity for cross promotion here. Huge wrestling fan like us. And we're very excited to have him on. And you're right, the last time we did this, I was in Nashville as a guest of Scott Hamilton at SummerSlam at Nissan Stadium where the Titans play. So did an emergency podcast there. I did it live from the hotel room. A little bit different now.
With your SummerSlam chair, did you ever get that mailed to your house?
Yes. So now I have two SummerSlam chairs, which is great. But yeah, so he's a producer with us, has his own podcast, a lot of great opportunity for cross-promotional stuff here, and we'll get to pick his brain on everything WWE heading into the Royal Rumble on Saturday from San Antonio. Anthony Rivera. Anthony, pal, thank you for doing this with us. Welcome. This is what we do. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm excited to be on here, excited to do this. I haven't talked wrestling in a really long time, and I know me and Nick always kind of chat in the little chat at work, and it's fun to get back in it, man. This is a big pay-per-view. This is like my all-time favorite pay-per-view, even more than WrestleMania. I can't get enough of the Royal Rumble. It's so much fun to be around and to watch on TV, and so many great moments come out of it. So I'm excited to do this with you guys.
Absolutely. So, Anthony, of course, the Subway to Shea podcast. Check that out. Lots of great Mets talk. So, before we get into this any further, we got to go around. I said that WWE shirts were required for this recording. So, we'll go with you first, Joe. Let's see your shirt. Kevin Owens show. Very nice.
So I was at Raw 30 this past Monday in Philadelphia. And I decided to wear this shirt, obviously, because it's the Monday Night Raw shirt that I have. You know me, I do acknowledge the tribal chief, right? He's our tribal chief. He's the head of the table. He's a ratings magnet. That first hour of Monday Night Raw was the best that they did in 3 hours. But for purposes of this podcast, I like the Kevin Owens show. I love this shirt. I love KO too. I think they're two great rivals. I think they're going to have a great match at the Royal Rumble. Anthony, let's see what shirt you're wearing.
I also acknowledge the tribal chief and the wise man. So I am a Paul Heyman guy. There we go.
Yeah. So, funny story about Paul Heyman, Anthony. We actually messaged him last year to come on the podcast. Very nice. He answered me. So I can't right now, too many requests. But he claims that him and Joe's dad go way back in Manhattan back in the day, and they're buddies or something. Now, Joe never confirmed or denied that with his dad, but maybe there is a chance that Joe's dad is the original Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah, maybe he's an ECW original.
I would think so.
My dad's not really a huge wrestling fan, so he knows of like the old school guys. So he knows of like Hogan and Flair and like everything up until like the early mid-90s with like Undertaker. Like he could recognize those names, but he was never really the true wrestling fan. I get the wrestling stuff from my mom's side of the family. My grandma was actually a huge wrestling fan. Her favorite wrestler of all time is The Undertaker, but she used to watch in the 80s and stuff. She used to love greats like Dusty Rhodes and stuff. And my cousins, when they were younger, they would go over her house and she had the old VHS tapes and they would watch the wrestling events and the pay-per-views. They became wrestling fans. They were huge fans in the mid-90s, late 90s with the Attitude Era. And I kind of picked it up from like my grandma, mom's side of the family, and my older cousins. So
Joe, Anthony's wearing the Paul Heyman shirt. You were at Raw. I thought the line of the night was about Brock Purdy. Awesome. He's going to take down the Eagles. I'm sure you were clapping for that because you're obviously not an Eagles fan. What was that like in the building?
Well, I got to be honest. When they started chanting ECW and the way that Heyman was able to pivot on the fly, it was really brilliant. it's something that he showcases every so often. His ability to get the crowd from like loving him one moment to just getting those boos and hating him in the next moment. Obviously, with the ECW originating from Philadelphia, but our guy at Fox Sports, Jacob Ullman, he was probably behind that because if you remember, to start the wild card weekend, the NFL playoffs was the Seahawks 49ers game. And the first promo that they did leading up to the game was a Heyman vignette with the Brock Purdy, right? So that was fun. That was awesome. You're right. It was one of the lines of the night, if not the line of the night. And it was a lot of fun to go to. Actually, really, really great show. Little less of the novelty show because Raw 25 was more like a nostalgia trip. It was like, we're bringing everybody back. We're going to announce them. We're going to have a good time. Raw 30 felt like just like a really normal Raw, like a moment in time. But it was good. It was a nice little blend of everything.
All right, so I will now show my shirt, and I am still walking with Elias after all these years. He's our guy. And on Elias here, believe it or not, his odds to win the Royal Rumble are the same as his brother Ezekiel's, and they're both at plus 10,000. So if you were to bet on one of those guys appearing in the Rumble and winning, where would you go? I actually think that maybe there's a way we get both of them in the Rumble.
That's what I was going to say. I think they're both going to be in the match.
But is Elias going to shave? Like, how's that going to work, you know?
That's a good question.
Yeah, if you don't capitalize on the three faces of Foley like they did in, what was it, 1998, where they had him come out as Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love, if you don't capitalize on that, I think that's a wasted opportunity.
We'll see. A lot of Zeke freaks in San Antonio. So, and I really hope we get an Elias concert at WrestleMania this year. But to Anthony's point, yes, Royal Rumble is one of the best pay-per-views because it's different. You never know what's going to happen. WrestleMania, it's taken a hit for me because I hate the 2 nights. It's too much. And without a doubt, Money in the Bank is now a top 3 pay-per-view for sure. And Survivor Series stinks. With the brand wars, thank goodness they didn't do it this year, but we could discuss that another time. So let's look into the event now. First, the match that has yet to be announced, which will be announced on Friday Night SmackDown. That's going to be the Queen, the 14-time champion Charlotte, taking on Sonya Deville in a match that is totally filler. So we'll start with you, Anthony. What's your expectations for how this match will play out?
You know, Charlotte has kind of reigned all over the WWE for so long now that it's really hard to, if you're not putting her up against Ronda Rousey or, you know, like Sasha Banks, it's really hard to get, or even Becky Lynch. It's hard to get, you know, put someone else over. And I think Sonya Deville is a, you know, pretty good worker, but they kind of just like buried her character. And I don't see her lasting that long against Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte Flair just came back. She has this big run going. They're going to take Charlotte Flair to WrestleMania. I mean, she's the big name. She's the big draw. You're going to have the big Charlotte Flair entrance. She's going to be champion going into WrestleMania.
Absolutely. Yeah. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I told you this the other day. I've always liked Sonya Deville. And it's disappointing that Mandy Rose left the company because I think that there was something there that they could have did down the line by reuniting them and putting like the women's tag team championships on them and making them the champs. And I don't know if you watched NXT, but Toxic Attraction had a really great segment. So they're still firing on all cylinders there. And that was the impression that Mandy left before she left. But I've always liked Sonya Deville. And I think she's very talented. I think she is a good worker. I think she is good on the mic. I liked her GM character. I always liked the way she played off Adam Pearce. And the truth of the matter is that right now there's still too many other big name stars in front of her. So she really can't get time to burn or shine. But I think for what this is, I think Charlotte needed to come back and just have like a nice, easy go around feud to start. Nobody expected her to win the women's championship the way she did from Ronda Rousey. Nobody expected that. So, Anthony, I agree with you. I think Charlotte Flair is going into WrestleMania as SmackDown Women's Champion. If this match, you said this match is going to get announced on Friday next. So if it happens at the Royal Rumbles, if it's for the championship, you can expect Charlotte to retain. But I think it's going to be a good match for what it is.
All right. Mandy Rose plus 5,000 to win the Royal Rumble. I think it would be fantastic if they have her appear in the Rumble because it would be a nice pop. And the fact of the matter is, other than who? Becky, Charlotte, as far as current roster members, she's the biggest star out of all the ladies. So let her come out there and then she can make some more millions on fan time or whatever it is. So Mandy Rose, they missed the mark with her. Too bad she's gone. All right, so moving on to some more scheduled matches. We have the all-time classic Mountain Dew in the Dark match between LA Knight and maybe Bray Wyatt, maybe The Fiend, maybe Uncle Howdy. Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares? I certainly don't care. I would love for LA Knight to win this match. But before we talk about, who's going to win, I want to talk about some other beverages and what kind of matches they could have in the future. So, Joe, we'll start with you. What would the monster match be in WWE?
I mean, we've had something similar to it, right? It was like, listen, I like Bray Wyatt, but that
House of Horrors
way back when they tried, right? They tried to do something.
The match with him versus Randy Orton, that was the worst match in the history of wrestling.
Yeah, it was not good. And let me tell you something. For what it's worth, they did like when the pandemic was happening, they did like the recorded matches, right? They did like the cinematic theatric matches, and all of them were good, right? So it's like House of Horrors just did not pan out the way they wanted to. But if we're looking at like a monster match, right? Maybe do something similar to like the lumberjack match that they had with like the Miz and stuff, right?
The
zombies, but like that wasn't really executed that well either. But they're good ideas that I think, if done properly, could work. You follow? So I think maybe you would need to attach another stipulation to that. Maybe do like a no holds barred kind of match anywhere in the arena, and like anybody can get them. You got ideas there, but my beverage of choice, as you can see, is Monster Energy, and I don't know if we're gonna get in trouble by me keep showing the can over there, but hopefully they sponsor us one day.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Coca-Cola cage match, and each in the four corners there would be like a thing you get up there, and you could spray the Coca-Cola. Maybe you have Mike Francis up there with a Diet Coke throwing down to his partner or something. And that's the weapon. You get up there, you could spray with the Coca-Cola cannon or something, or somebody's trying to do the cage and they're climbing after him and they shake up the soda can and blind them or something similar to the Mist. All right, Anthony, what would your drink be, and what would the match be?
I'm a huge Dr. Pepper fan, so I'm thinking Dr. Pepper sponsors an ambulance match.
All right. If you keep drinking like Dr. Pepper, you might end up in an ambulance.
Yeah. All right. So to the match of the Mountain Dew in the pitch black match. I'm wondering if this is even going to be in front of the audience, because if it's really pitch black, you don't see anything. But they had this blackout match last year or something, but you're able to see it. They just did red lighting. So I don't know how it's going to be. I hope Mountain Dew is in place somehow, but I think it's just the name of the match. LA Knight plus 700, Bray Wyatt minus 2,000. We'll start with Anthony here to see how this match is going to play out.
Yeah, I don't even know where they're going with this Bray Wyatt storyline. I feel like it's taking way too long to get to the final destination. And there's another character that I'm pretty sure we're going to get into that was a part of his, I guess, family for a certain time. I'm pretty sure we'll get into her shortly, but I don't see Bray Wyatt losing to LA Knight. I mean, I think it's almost like impossible. It's his own kind of match. I don't know how far they go with this. And, you'd think they think of new things, but, didn't they like attack Miz with like zombies at some point to promote The Walking Dead or movie?
Yeah. It's always a promotional thing that they do with that.
All right. So what do you think, Joe?
I mean, you know me. I like both guys. I love LA Knight. I'm so happy that they finally brought him to the main roster. I think he'll be a star in time. I really don't know what they're going to do here. I was thinking the same thing, Nick. Like, how can you do the pitch black thing? And is it going to start in the ring? And then is it going to go elsewhere? Or are they going to stay in the ring? Or is it going to be like a pre-recorded thing, right? So I'm thinking like maybe because it's sponsored by Mountain Dew, maybe the WWE agreed to do like a pre-recorded like cinematic type of thing. Uh, but yeah, I mean, in terms of who's going to win, I'm with Anthony a little bit. Like as much as I like both guys, like I'm waiting to see what the payoff is. How does the story end? Where does both guys go from here? So I'm hoping that after they do this at the Rumble, they don't extend this into WrestleMania. I hope both guys kind of go in the other directions and kind of start to do other things after this match. But I think Bray will win.
Yeah, I think this match, it should have been similar to the Orange Cassidy Chris Jericho match, where you lose if you go into a pool of Mountain Dew. That's the only way that this makes sense. But I think it's going to be cinematic, because otherwise, how does it work in the pitch black? And Bray Wyatt's going to win, unfortunately. And so much
You
for
don't
the
like
LA
Bray
Knight
Wyatt?
push. So much for the LA Knight push.
He doesn't like those like the darker type of characters. Like he's not really like a Bray Wyatt
I
fan.
can't suspend belief. That's
Yeah,
I don't
I
like
hear
those
you on
type
that.
of characters.
He doesn't like the Judgment Day. He doesn't like Cross and Scarlet. Like that's not his cup of tea, which is fair. You know, not
Yeah.
everybody's gonna like the same things.
Well, we'll say this. Given what happened on Monday and this little, I guess, whisper from The Undertaker to Bray Wyatt, yeah, that little, I don't know what that was, but I don't see Bray losing. They're going to pump him up as much as they can and continue whatever this Uncle Howdy, whatever new characters they keep adding to this Bray Wyatt
I
mythos.
can't wait to see Uncle Howdy beat Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. I want to see how the internet reacts to that.
That's
It's gonna
certainly
happen.
possible.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
I want to see who Uncle Howdy actually is.
It would be unbelievable to see Uncle Howdy beat Bray Wyatt. All right, enough Bray Wyatt talk for now, but we'll move on to the women's championship match. Alexa Bliss taking on Bianca Belair. I'll go first on this one. And I think Alexa Bliss is going to win this match. And it's going to be the end of the Bianca Belair reign. And maybe Bianca Belair ends up in the Royal Rumble, though. Joe, you are shaking your head like crazy.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Why would they be doing all these shifts in Alexa Bliss's character, making her evil here with Uncle Howdy if she's not going to win?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I don't know, because I'm looking at potential WrestleMania matches, and like I have a hard time believing that Alexa Bliss is going to carry the Raw Women's Championship and be the champion heading into WrestleMania. And at that point, it's like, what does Bianca Belair do? Right? If Bianca were to lose the Raw Women's title, then immediately in my mind, she becomes a name that you have to watch out for to enter and win the Royal Rumble later in the night, right? So that's interesting. I think Bianca does retain here. I think they're still doing more character work with Alexa. And again, it's
maybe Uncle Howdy costs Alexa Bliss the match. What do you think, Anthony?
That's a possibility. That is quite. I wasn't even thinking of that. I was kind of in line with you that I think she would win the title, but both of you guys make great points on how far this character they're going to keep building and building. Alexa Bliss is probably my favorite of the women in the division. I don't care what character they bring her in as. I really like her work, and I think she's one of the better that somewhat as of late has been underutilized. I know they keep trying to push a lot of other stars, but I think Alexa Bliss is one of the top ones. I mean, very underrated what she does in the ring. And maybe she goes back to that dark character again. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed her as that as well. I think she could pull off many different characters. That's what's so great about her. But whoever loses this match is definitely going to be a big participant in the Royal Rumble match for sure. And quite possibly could become a favorite more than if Sonya Deville lost. They probably will just swipe that away. But either her or Bianca Belair will become a big part of the Rumble match.
Bianca Belair plus 2,000 right now, and Alexa Bliss plus 2,500. So I think if Bianca loses, then she'd be in the match, but maybe not, because we're usually get one Rumble match is going to open the show, one's going to close it, and it's probably going to be the women's match opening it. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how the card shakes out. Because to Joe's point of WrestleMania, I've never seen Charlotte wrestle at WrestleMania as a face, so heel turn's probably coming. So why not do Charlotte versus Bianca Belair, Joe?
I mean, that's what I thought they were going to do when months ago. That was before Charlotte came back to win the SmackDown title. I was at Raw on Monday with our friends, and I was talking to Joe, our friend Joe Foreman, huge wrestling fan. And I was saying, like, when Bianca and Charlotte were in the ring, I was like, if this is like what they have planned for WrestleMania, and yeah, I don't know how champ versus champ would work out and how everybody else would play, would fall in line after that. But Charlotte versus Bianca is something that they haven't done before. They're going to do it eventually. So it is a huge match, right?
Athletically, it would be pretty solid.
And the athleticism in that match is off the charts, and it's two super female athletes. So it's something that will happen eventually. But I think it makes most sense if Charlotte is the champion and Bianca does not have a title and wins the Royal Rumble. Yep. So if Alexa Bliss, and you call it correctly, Nick, you're putting yourself out there, that's a scenario that I could see if Alexa does win.
Well, let's say if the show starts with the women's championship match of Bianca versus Alexa Bliss, then it's in play. If it doesn't start the show, then forget about it.
Well,
what do you think?
We know in like wrestling, they tend to dictate these storylines, based on how the fan reaction was. So when both of them were in the ring, Joe, when you were there, how was that fan reaction to both of them?
Flair came out, introduced his daughter. His daughter was out there. She cut a little bit of a promo. Bianca came out. I would say, obviously, Bianca got more cheers, but it's like Charlotte's reached the point where it's like she doesn't get like all boos anymore. Like she gets the boos. People are always into her, right? But in terms of like putting Charlotte and Bianca together, in terms of like how the crowd, it's probably like 65 to 70 Bianca, around 30 for Charlotte. But again, it's like I said, Charlotte, like she doesn't get like universal boos anymore. She gets the woos.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out, how they can do this champion versus champion type match. And, it worked a couple years ago with Becky Lynch because she was extremely over, like even over than more of the, men. That's why she got the man, moniker. So I'm trying to figure out if like that's something that they want to do, or are they going to test it with it right now being just, one title, and then they give somebody else the title and they have a separate match. And then eventually they bring them together, because Charlotte and I don't remember Charlotte and Bianca going after each other at all. Did they wrestle?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So that'll be big.
So we'll close the book here on, we're looking forward to WrestleMania for women's here. So we got to look at the Royal Rumble match itself. And right now, sadly, the heavy favorite is Rhea Ripley at plus 100.
She's not really the heavy favorite because she's not even like, she's still plus odds.
Well, she's still the favorite. Next behind her is the aforementioned man, Becky Lynch at plus 333, who I think you should have her win. Followed by Raquel Rodriguez at plus 750 to round out the top three. And then the top five is where things get interesting. Bayley plus 1,000. Followed by Naomi at plus 1,000. Can you feel the glow? And after that, you got Charlotte Flair plus 1,200, Asuka plus 1,600, and Shayna Baszler plus 1,600. So I don't want to hear right now who you guys think is going to win this match. Let's talk about some surprises and stuff. We know Liv Morgan is going to number one, I think. She wants to be number one, which is pretty silly. Who do you think is going to be number two? And give me some surprise returns or whatever. I really hope we don't see Michelle McCool again. We will probably see Molly Holly for about 15 seconds. That's tradition. And we're going to see the third return of Chelsea Green. She'll be in this match. And I think Dewdrop will make an impact in this one for sure. Those are my things to keep an eye out early on. And I don't know, guys. I think that Ronda Rousey is not going to be in this match. We're not going to see her. And because she's not going to be in this match and lose. Like, how does that work? She's plus 2,500. So I think we're actually not going to see Ronda at all. But we could start with you, Anthony. Give me some things you're looking out here for as this match plays out without giving us your winner.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list right now of names, and it doesn't even seem that there are too many, like, I guess, legends on there except for Lita.
Right.
Man, yeah, Ronda Rousey, I don't think they do that again. If they did do that again, that's definitely has Vince McMahon's hands written all over it if she comes back and she wins somehow. If I got to think of someone to come in at number 2, maybe it's some bit of a surprise, like a return. Like, I haven't seen Carmella in a while, so maybe
That's
Carmella
what I
comes
was
in at
thinking.
number 2.
Natalia, perhaps?
Maybe
I was gonna say
Natalia, yeah.
Carmella.
You said Liv Morgan at number 1. Maybe she goes on a run. I don't think she wins, but maybe she goes on some bit of a run where she lasts long and then she gets, thrown out towards the end and just loses her mind like she's does from time to time. So I could see that possibly happening. A Naomi return would be nice because I kind of liked what Naomi brought. She was a lot different than of the other, female superstars. And I kind of like what she has to bring to the table. A lot of these people, you would think, hey, maybe Bayley has a chance to win, but they've really haven't done anything with Bayley. Who else that they haven't done anything with? Shayna Baszler. I mean, they've kind of just been like lowered down. So it's hard for me to pick any of these girls. And, Rhea Ripley, I don't know. It seems like now that she's with this Judgment Day, that even she's been kind of watered down to be like a sidekick and a comedy act with, Dominic Mysterio.
Listen, I'd be all for them booking Asuka to win this match. I don't like Bayley winning because Damage, Control, Alt, Delete is the worst faction ever put together. They have no background story. Why are they all together? They're just horrible. If Bayley was by herself, sure, I could buy it. Again, I think Becky should win, but I wouldn't have her win because she already won and then she had that big run. So let's spread the wealth here. All right, we'll give our predictions who's going to win after. But Joe, tell me about the storylines here in the match, big returns and whatnot. Who's going to be the Iron Woman, etc.
Well, I think Liv is going to be the Iron Woman because there's no reason to announce her and put her as number 1 if they didn't have plans for her to at least be in the match for most of the time. In terms
What if Dewdrop's number 2 and she eliminates Liv immediately and they do some sympathy storyline with Liv?
That would never happen.
All right.
So, I mean, I was gonna say Carmella to be number 2 because that number 2 spot, like especially in like the women's match, they've never really done like a return, a traditional return, right? So it's like Carmella's a candidate, Naomi I think is a candidate for that spot. And if you're looking for somebody active, maybe they'll throw like Nikki Cross in there, right? Just to like kind of do like a basic setup. I do think Ronda is going to be in the match. I think Ronda and Shayna are going to have a little bit of a run together towards the final third of the match, towards the end. I don't think neither wins, but I definitely do think that there's going to be another dominant.
I just feel like wouldn't they promoted Ronda Rousey's in the match by now?
Yeah, no, it's fair. But I mean, she's been on SmackDown and, she hasn't really gone away. So she's not involved in anything else on the card. So what else is she going to do? So she's probably going to
give me somebody from NXT who's going to be in this match. Indy Hartwell.
I was going to say Cora Jade and Indy Hartwell.
All right. Cora Jade, she's terrible. She's got no future in the main roster, but we'll see. All right, so now let's discuss who's going to win. Guys, I'm gonna go with Raquel Rodriguez at plus 750.
Good value.
I'm not believing the hype in Rhea Ripley. And let's remember in 2012 and 2020, excuse me, when the winner of the match was Charlotte and she was plus 500. So little trend there. The favorite doesn't necessarily always win in the women's match. Raquel, she's the third favorite. So we'll see. I mean, I could see it being Becky. I mean, they'd be stupid to make it be Rhea, but Triple H is running the show. He ran NXT. He loves Rhea. So I could see her winning, but that's not going to get much of a reaction in the stadium, if you ask me. So I'm going to go with Raquel Rodriguez, the San Antonio native, or at least she's from Texas. and I think she's gonna get the big pop. She had those matches with Ronda Rousey. It was pretty solid. And Joe, what's the match I've been asking for years? I want Raquel versus Charlotte. I think it would be money. I think it'd be tremendous. And there's a lot of directions you can go with that. So we'll go to Anthony next. Anthony, who do you like to win the Women's Royal Rumble?
I didn't know that she was from Texas, so that kind of like changes things a little bit.
I'll double check. I think she is, though.
If she is, I mean, she would either win,
Yep, she's
but
from
I don't
Texas. She is
I
from
don't know
Texas.
how much of
Right.
I don't know how much fans would really buy into her against Charlotte. I do see a scenario where she is the one that pulls off like a Kane type thing where she's throwing everyone else out.
Yeah,
Maybe
she's
has like
huge.
a little
she could
bit of a
eliminate
run.
7 people.
Um,
You get Raquel to pick up Dewdrop and dump her out of the ring. That'll be a huge pop.
yeah, I definitely see her having some type of run, like throwing maybe 5 or 6, maybe the most women out of there. You know, the thing that with Rhea Ripley that bothers me is that they haven't really done anything with her in terms of going up against any of the big, the champions, Belair, or they haven't really done any storyline because she's so invested in this whole thing with Dominic and the Judgment Day, where she's just
Wouldn't
kind
it
of
be better if she's
side
in the
piece.
Men's Royal Rumble match?
That would be
He
cool.
wants to be.
That would totally be cool. I'd be down for that.
What do you think?
Oh,
Speaking
man.
of that, do you guys think Nia Jax makes her return Saturday?
Yeah, nah.
All right.
You know what? I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go dark horse here. What if they do bring back Mandy Rose? What if this was like a short term? Like, obviously they let her go, and maybe the whole situation just got out of hand, and then she was on the news, explaining herself. I think maybe let me go dark horse here. Let's go Mandy Rose.
I love that.
As a return.
I love that. That is a lot of value in that bet.
It's not. I don't know if Mandy would win the match, but in terms of like bringing her immediately back under the circumstances, like I could see her be brought back immediately because I don't think what happened with her is ultimately like the biggest deal in the world. So
I don't see it happening, unfortunately.
I don't see it happening either. But it's like,
how do you think Chelsea Green will do in this match then in her return? Because you remember she was on those websites too, but she turned her things down. If they're bringing her back and she's coming straight to the main roster, is she gonna have any reaction? Is they gonna do anything with her? No reaction.
You definitely look at the top names that are on here, not outside of, like you said, Becky, Raquel, and like Bailey. Naomi's gonna have one of those, Kofi Kingston type things like she did a couple years ago.
You could have Naomi win. The fans would like that if she was back.
Yeah.
That's what
Charlotte Flair is gonna probably be champ.
I'm probably gonna go chalk here, but I will say this, right? So I told you. So I think the final 4 is going to be some combination of Rhea, Raquel, Ronda, and either Shayna or Becky or Liv, right? So I think it's going to be Becky. I think the final 2, and they're going to do what they did a couple of years ago with Roman Reigns, because WWE always used to say like Roman Reigns is the favorite. He's going to win the Royal Rumble, right? And then once we got to the end, everybody started booing him, and whoever eliminated Reigns at the end, Shinsuke, Drew McIntyre, they always ended up getting the big pop at the end, right? So I think that's what's going to happen with Rhea and Ronda. I think they're going to be the final 2.
Okay.
So in terms of like how this works out for WrestleMania, I think it actually works out neatly, because if Bianca, who I think holds the Raw Women's title and retains, I think they do Bianca and Rhea, right? You don't necessarily have to have Rhea beat Bianca at WrestleMania. That's just a big match for them to do. I think they're going to do Ronda versus Becky, because
I hope so. But I heard the rumors are that's why Ronda dropped the title so abruptly, because she did not want to work with Becky.
Really?
And Becky was going to win the Rumble.
So I read a report that when Ronda was the champion, they thought about doing Rhea Ripley versus Ronda Rousey. In that scenario, Rhea would have won the Rumble and then gone on to challenge Ronda, right? So I think Ronda and Becky's out there. They're both not champions right now. Like,
that's the match that we want to see.
Right. And then I think with Charlotte, there's an interesting because you can do Charlotte versus Raquel, or you can do Charlotte versus Naomi. Right. I think those are the two options that are probably staring them at the face. And, it's like I would love to see Raquel win the Rumble. But my pick is gonna be Rhea.
And maybe Joe, maybe you're right. Maybe this is setting up something like how they did Warrior Hogan, where they met at the Rumble. You have Rousey and Rhea Ripley, and it's like the two big, champions. And then at some time in the future, maybe next year, or they build it at SummerSlam or something where they do face off eventually.
They always tease future matchups in the Royal Rumble. That's something that they always do. It always happens once or twice a year where it's like you see two people who are either on separate shows or they're on the same shows and they've never interacted with each other. And then all of a sudden they kind of do like the meetup, right? They do like the face-to-face. It happened a couple years ago in 2020 when I think when Edge came out and they like Edge and AJ Styles, before AJ Styles got hurt, they had like a little bit of a face-to-face, and then AJ got hurt, so they had to throw him out of the match. But sure enough, we saw Edge versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania last year, right? So it's like it always happens, right? There's always
Sean Taker.
Yeah.
Lots to be seen there. All right, so now let's move to the men's side of the equation. We got Roman Reigns taking on Kevin Owens. Roman Reigns is the huge favorite at minus 2,000. Kevin Owens is plus 700. I think we all agree Roman Reigns is going to win here. But what's the Sami Zayn test? Is it going to be in this? Is it going to be, Sami, you got to go win the Royal Rumble and then lay down for me at WrestleMania? So that's to be seen here. Obviously, the Usos are going to be in play. Roman Reigns will win because of the bloodline. So we'll go to you first, Joe. How do you see this match ending?
Everything is going to get thrown into this match. Kevin Owens says he was going to throw everything. He's going to die in the ring trying to take the title. I don't think he's going to take the title. What you have to watch out for in this match is what they do with Sami Zayn. And as somebody who, like, we try to predict this stuff, right? Because we're older now when we watch. The one thing that I have to say has been absolutely spectacular with Sami Zayn and the bloodline is you do not know what is going to happen. You do know that at some point, Sami Zayn and the bloodline are no longer going to be a thing. Now, are the bloodline going to take out Sami, or is Sami going to try to outsmart them before that happens, right? We still don't know what is going to happen. And the tribal court segment that they did on Monday in the first hour is quite possibly, I think, already one of the top Raw moments ever. It was such a tremendous segment. Everybody was awesome. Jey Uso coming into Sami Zayn's defense, that was unbelievable. The crowd ate that up. Everybody was chanting for Sami, right? He's in that borderline Daniel Bryan territory. They have to be very, very careful with how they do this.
You had Yesamania, you had Kofi Mania, and now you have Sami Mania.
Zania.
Zania. That's crazy. I do think that they hold off on Sami Zayn a little while longer. I don't think it's going to be heading into this year. I do think it's going to be heading into next year. So with that said, Roman Reigns is going to win, but I think something is going to happen with Sami at the Rumble where it's not really like black and white, but it's something that like they're not going to be fully on board with. And Elimination Chamber is in Montreal, which is Sami's hometown. He's going to be on the poster, right? So he's going to be pretty much a focal point of the show. They're going to build a lot of the show around his involvement, what's going on with the bloodline, right? So I think Montreal is where you see eventually the Sami Zayn versus bloodline split, however that plays out. But I think something's going to happen in the Rumble, and that's going to start that, and Reigns is going to retain.
All right, Anthony, what do you think?
No, I totally agree. I think Roman Reigns is going to retain the title. And Joe, you're right. We are definitely towing that line with a couple of superstars, right? You got Owens, you got Sami Zayn, the bloodline with Roman Reigns, and then you got Cody Rhodes, because that's going to be, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get into that in just a little bit, but, with those superstars, you're really towing a line because everyone is so hyped into what's going on with the bloodline that, they really want to see, Owens, and they want to see Zayn be, the champion, and beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's something that I would want to see. I would want to see both of them, with how big they are right now. We're getting into, like you said, Daniel Bryan territory, and they didn't really capitalize on it until they were forced to, and hopefully they don't make that same mistake going into WrestleMania this year. But like you were saying earlier, I don't think that that I don't think Zayn is going to turn on the bloodline. I think the bloodline is going to turn on. I think Roman is going to do it. And at Montreal, he's going to get this huge pop, and they're going to be like, "What? You're more popular than me or something?" And then Roman Reigns will take him out.
All right, well, you guys looking ahead here. This match, obviously, Reigns is going to win. We'll see how that happens, what happens there. And to me, the problem is here that Zayn is just, they're building up so much here. Maybe they're not trying to, that him and Kevin Owens as a tag team to be the champs at Mania versus the Usos is a big letdown at this point. And we can get more into that momentarily as we talk about the Royal Rumble. So here's some historical Royal Rumble notes about the last few Royal Rumbles here. 2020 Royal Rumble, which is Joe's favorite of all time. The first half was great. I loved how Brock Lesnar destroyed everybody. That was tremendous. But Drew McIntyre won at plus 500. The favorite going into that, of course, was Roman Reigns. 2021, Edge was the second favorite at plus 225, and he won. I don't know what's going on here, but there's been no talks about Edge being in the Royal Rumble this year. I think he will be in the Royal Rumble. We can get into that. And then in 2022, Brock Lesnar. That was the obvious one. Plus 300, and he was the favorite. But the odds weren't, there was no negative odds for the Rumble. So that's always good. We don't have any negative odds. So now to the men's match. Cody Rhodes is the favorite right now at minus 149. I think they are doing a horrible job with Cody Rhodes, because if he just came back unannounced, huge pop, crowd goes wild. I think they're letting a lot of air out of the balloon here by doing these stupid videos the last few weeks. And the crowd's not going to be as excited to see Cody Rhodes. Now, he may win, but I can't get invested in that storyline of Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns would win the match anyway. And you have much better options at this point, in my opinion, guys, to face Roman Reigns. Number one, Sami Zayn. They're building it up greatly. That's what the fans want. They'll erupt. Huge reaction. Even if it's a short championship reign, that's what you got to do. And the big problem, of course, is the fact that Roman has both titles held captive. So that's one less match for WrestleMania. And the other person who has a claim to the title and has been making little comments towards Roman Reigns for a whole year now, ever since he beat him at the Royal Rumble last year, is Seth Rollins. I would get more involved, more invested in the Seth Rollins pursuing Roman Reigns mind games match, or Sami Zayn full circle here against the bloodline, than I would Cody Rhodes is back from injury, wins the Royal Rumble, and he's going after Roman Reigns because he wants the title. So before we talk about anything with the match, before we talk about who's going to win or anything, what do you guys think about how I laid out the whole title scenario right now and those three guys? We'll go to you first, Joe.
Well, I said this to you before. This is like one of the rare years where I don't care. Like, all the options to win this year are great to me. I would love for Cody to win. I would love for Sammy to win. I would love for Seth to win. I would love for Bobby to win. I would love for McIntyre to win again. I think they have a lot of options here. And this is one of those years where it's like, Lesnar won last year. They're not going to have him win again. Edge will be in the match, but we know Edge is not going to win, right? So unless they got The Rock, and I'm with you here, I don't think that's possible. I don't think they did it. We wouldn't have heard those rumors and those reports floating out there with them offering money for Stone Cold to have another match with Roman, right? So
Triple H isn't sold on Cody Rhodes.
I mean, I disagree with that. They're doing the hype video packages for him. The thing is, like, everybody it's like his surprise at WrestleMania last year. After he did the interviews, it was like, yeah, it wasn't really a surprise. Everybody knew I was coming back, right? So I don't think it's going to be any like less of a pop, right? And I still think he would get the pop at the end if he wins, and I think it's going to be when he wins because I think Cody is going to win. We are I told you, we are a Dusty Rhodes family. We love Dusty Rhodes. We love his kid, right? His kid's never had a world championship reign. The story is there. And it's very built in because at the beginning of his music and his intro, it's wrestling has more than one royal family, right? Which is clearly a dig, a long-term dig at the McMahon family, right? But as we've seen through the years now, there are the Flairs, there's the Bloodline, there's the Rhodes family, right? The Rhodes family of those families aren't necessarily royalty. So to go against the Bloodline, Reigns, right? I think the story is there. But to your point, you're right. We just went through this with Sammy. He's got that Daniel Bryan magic right now, right? Like if it was Sami Zayn, I think that's awesome too. I really wouldn't have a problem with that. If they decided to do a match where Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are the two best guys of this generation, the last 8 to 10 years, which they are, right? You know, death taxes, Rollins beats Reigns, always happens, right? If that happens, I'm on board with that. If The Rock decided by some miracle that he wanted to do it and he wanted to do a big match with him and his cousin at WrestleMania in Los Angeles, he went to Hollywood, you know, it would be like, I don't know, you're not really a Marvel movie guy, Nick, right? You know, you've seen some here and there, but the premise of Black Panther is very similar to like the Bloodline story, right? You know, there's Black Panther, there's Killmonger, right? It's a story about what guy's going to lead his family. So like Roman Reigns versus The Rock in real life, especially in Hollywood, like it would be that kind of story, right? So as far as I'm concerned, I'm on board with everything. Like there's no bad story here, but I do think Cody's going to win the Rumble. Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that the Seth Rollins storyline, although probably would be really good. I mean, they have the history and everything working together. I think that's at the bottom of my list of what I think is going to happen. I mean, Seth Rollins is so over that it would work, and I think he's more over than Cody. Cody has just missed so much time. You know, he got hurt at the worst possible time. If Cody was wrestling and building this up, I think fans would be more behind it. But with him out and the opportunity to, you know, build Sami Zayn and this, you know, Kevin Owens is added to the story, it just makes so much more sense. And, you know, Roman Reigns has kind of trampled over everybody, including Brock Lesnar and Drew. He's beaten everybody. So to see Cody Rhodes beat him for both titles, although it would be awesome, it'd be like that underdog story. I don't think it just fits right now. I think what fits more is you have Roman Reigns fight 2 nights and you get Kevin Owens one night, you get Sami Zayn the other night, and maybe that's how he loses the title. Or maybe he faces The Rock, which would probably be like the ultimate storyline in the Bloodline, the whole Bloodline saga. I don't know. I feel like Cody Rhodes is going to get that Batista treatment when Batista came back. And it's going to be undeserved too, because Cody Rhodes is so good. He's worked so hard. You know, he fought through that whole injury, but now he's been gone so long that we've forgotten about him. And they only did the vignettes now. They should have started that maybe when he was starting to build his recovery back. Like we see everything, you know, you see him after the surgery, we see him starting to run and get ready. They just only started this, like 2 or 3 weeks ago where they said he was coming back.
Right.
I don't know.
So
man.
Joe, you know the answer. What are the 2 greatest return from injuries in Royal Rumble history?
In Royal Rumble history?
From return from injury.
Like, are we talking like they returned in the match? Or
Yes,
was it like,
return in the match.
Oh, so Edge is one, obviously.
Nope, wrong. Triple H.
Well, Triple H returned before the match. He returned at the Garden leading into the Rumble. That was my other one.
Right.
That's why I asked. I was going to say Triple H and Edge.
And John Cena.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So
okay.
What do these have in common?
I was at the Garden for that. All right, yeah.
But my point is
one because he was retired.
What they have in common here is that they didn't do vignettes. The guys just came back. And that's what they try to do with Cody to get the big pop. I think the vignettes are hurting them, in my opinion. All right, so the match, and we'll wrap up quickly here, guys. Cody Rhodes, the favorite, minus 149. Implied probability to win, just about 60%. From there, it's a big drop off. Sami Zayn is number 2 at plus 188. Then The Rock is at plus 200. Seth Rollins plus 1200. Roman Reigns, maybe he'll just enter for himself for some reason, plus 1400. Bobby Lashley plus 1600. And then Stone Cold is plus 1600. We saw the reports that Stone Cold don't get him for a match. We'll see. I'm going to say The Rock is not even in the match, so I'll take him off the board. That's my opinion. Joe, real quick, is The Rock going to be in this match?
I don't think so.
What do you
I
think?
want him to be. I really do. And if he is in the match, he's going to win. But I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. It was a whole big talking point for like a year ago, and now it's kind of like died off. I don't see it.
Right. So obviously, when it gets to time for number 30 and he doesn't come out, the fans will boo like they did when Daniel Bryan didn't come out. So might as well stick to what works and just have Rey Mysterio come in at 30 again. He can get booed all over again.
Dominic Mysterio, maybe.
Bad Bunny, have him come in at 30 and get booed. That would be great.
I think Edge is going to come in at 30. Because
All
I think Edge is the safest option because he's a big name. He's a return. We haven't seen him in a while.
Sure.
And I think everybody with the anticipation, like who's going to be 30, like there's no guarantee right now that Edge is going to be in the match. You know what I mean? Like Edge could return the Monday Night Raw after the Royal Rumble and everybody will be like, oh yes, it's awesome. Edge is back. Right. So I think that's the safest if they're going with the return for 30.
All right, give me each of you guys, give me one like legend or somebody we haven't seen in a while that's going to be in this match. Everyone's saying, oh, it's going to be Matt Cardona. I don't think so. It'd be nice.
Kind of a legend.
I'm going to go with the Hurricane. We'll once again be in this match for a few minutes and then get tossed out. All right, what do you think, Joe? Give me somebody.
Rob Van Dam.
All right. How about you, Anthony?
I'm going to say no legend.
No legend.
I think they have enough superstars that they don't need it.
I also have a prediction for you, Nick.
Let's hear it.
I think John Cena is going to be in the match.
I was going to say, I think John Cena is going to be in the final 4 of this match. So
do we count him as a legend? Like, is he now counted as a legend? Like, we know he will be.
He's an active.
We saw him 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, so it's not really like a long time.
What do you think? You guys think Goldberg will be in the match?
No.
Hope not.
Crown Jewel's not kind of for a while, so we won't see him for a while. Yeah, I think John Cena is going to be in the mix, and Logan Paul is going to be in the match as well. And I think Logan Paul might eliminate John Cena to set up the WrestleMania match.
I don't think Logan Paul is going to be Cena's opponent, and I'll tell you why.
Austin Theory?
I think they're going to have Austin Theory versus John Cena at WrestleMania for the United States title.
All right, so Theory is going to eliminate John Cena then.
Correct.
All right, Joe, you told me Cody Rhodes is going to win. Give me your final 4 and final 2.
Okay. Solo Sikoa, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, and Gunther. And the final 2 will be Cody and Gunther.
Okay. Anthony?
Let's see. I'm going to go with I agree with Solo Sikoa. I think Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and Sami Zayn. And then the final 2 will be Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn.
Ooh, okay. All right. And
who wins?
Who wins?
I'm going with Sami Zayn.
All right.
Sami Zayn, they're gonna build this. They are going to build this as, you know, maybe he lays down for Roman Reigns. They're gonna keep it in the family, and then they turn on him.
That's a good story. Oh,
and Cody Rhodes gets thrown out by Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins gets one on him now.
I could see Seth, I could see Cody coming back, having a run, and then not even making the final 4 because Seth throws him out, and then they set up a WrestleMania rematch. But again, it's like Seth has been a face though, so that's the only difficult part. It's like, how do they, is it like a respect thing, or is it just like, I'm not finished with you, blah blah blah. But I could see that happening too, Anthony. I can.
And if they want Cody to win, maybe Elimination Chamber. Someone always gets a title shot at WrestleMania through Elimination Chamber. So maybe, they could still continue to build him and he can be the first guy in, and then people start buying into it, and then he wins it there. But I think you gotta go with the hot hand. You can't mess this one up.
Well, I hope you're right, Anthony. I really do. And that would be the great storyline. What do we think, guys? Is Big E making his return Saturday night?
Yes.
I totally forgot about Big E. It'd be nice to see him come back.
I think he does. They're at the Australian Open the new day. So if he flies back, he would have to fly back directly to San Antonio, which is possible. So
well, Kofi will be there, so it's not out of the question. So who starts?
Say they're happy and like the surprises are sufficient. So it's like we're getting more than one. So I think Big E.
Who starts the match? I say Drew McIntyre is the first entrant, or a Street Profit.
I have to think that Seth is going to be one of the first two guys because they're going to want the and it's like, has he ever been one or two? I don't think so.
I think he was 2.
Was he 2? The year he won, he was 9. I remember that. So, oh no, he wasn't 9. He was 10. So he came out relatively early and he like had a really good run in the match, but he's never been like the Iron Man. You know, he's never had like the 50+ minute like. So I think that's the year for that. Like he's been the workhorse. Like everybody's loving him right now. You know, he's back to being like kind of like a baby face. He's getting cheered by the crowd. So I think Seth will come out at 1 and 2. I don't even know.
How about this? Roman Reigns tells Sammy, "You got to win this for us. You're going out there number 1." And then Sammy goes all the way to the end and loses.
Oh.
That's the story. That I could see something like that happening.
I could see something like that happening too. They have a lot of different options with this match. It's really, truly, I think, wide open.
All right, who's going to eliminate Omos? How does it get eliminated? Solo Sikoa is going to eliminate Omos by himself?
Yep.
Oh,
hey, man, and I would start one off with Jimmy Uso, number 2, Jey Uso. Spice things up a little bit.
Jimmy and Jay? I don't know if the Usos are going to be in this match.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be in this match either.
They don't have a tag team match.
They don't.
Who eliminates? Well, they're going to be heavily involved in the championship match.
There's going to be a moment, maybe for the final 8 will be Sammy, Solo, Jimmy, and Jay, right? And then you need to put 4 on the other side. So that's something I can see.
Yeah,
Cody.
I like that.
John Cena and Austin Theory.
No, it would be Seth, I think, Cody, Drew, and then somebody else who's had problems with the bloodline.
All right. I think that the final 4 is going to come down to Cody, Theory, John Cena, and Seth Rollins. I think Theory gets out Cena. And then I think somehow Theory is going to be in the final 2, and because that way Cody will get the big pop. If Cody eliminates Seth Rollins, they'll be split. So I think Cody's going to win. Cena's going to be in the finals if he's in this match. So he always is. Who do you guys think is going to eliminate the most people? I think it's going to be Gunther.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about this, I have a different final 8 playing out in my head. Wow.
I have another scenario too that I'm thinking about.
I could see Solo, Sammy, Jimmy, Jay, Drew, Sheamus, Cody, Seth. Boom. Right. And then I think, now that I'm thinking, like, I could see Solo being the last guy out. Like the last, like, or Sammy being the last, like, there's going to be like somebody at the last guy before whoever wins the match is probably going to be somebody from the bloodline.
So
right?
Cody's going to eliminate, if Cody eliminates Sami Zayn,
eliminates Solo
that's
last.
bad news. If he eliminates Solo Sikoa, okay.
I think Cody will eliminate Solo last.
All right, what do you think, Anthony?
I'm trying to get a little creative here and thinking of what if, after Roman Reigns beats Kevin Owens goes into the Rumble, and then him and Sami Zayn are the last 2. and then he just steps over the ropes and says, "Now you guys got to fight it out against each other." Messes with the bloodline.
That'd be nice. I don't know. All right, so me and Joe, we got Cody winning. I don't really want to pick Cody to win, but I think that's how they're going to go. Anthony is going with Sami Zayn, who I'd like to win. And all three of us would be okay with Seth Rollins winning. And we all agree The Rock is not coming back to WWE anytime soon. So that'll do it for our Royal Rumble prediction show here on You Know I'm Right. We want to thank our special guest, the Subway to Shea host, Anthony Rivera, for joining us. Anthony, everyone go check out his podcast. Who knows? Maybe Joe and I will make an appearance on there one day. We shall see. For my co-host, Joe Calabrese, I'm Nick Durst. Enjoy the Royal Rumble. And this has been You Know I'm Right on the Royal Rumble.